folks. Whenever I whack that thing, you're supposed to stand up. I want to welcome everyone to our August 1st, 2019 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. Commissioner Koger, would you lead us in a prayer and the pledge?
I will. Bow your heads, please. Lord, we praise and thank you for all your blessings. Please continue to guide the members of this body in your willful direction. Lord, remind us that it is you we truly serve when serving the citizens of this community. We praise you for entrusting us to lead our country, our county. Pray for our firemen, policemen, military, and first responders to always be safe. All this we pray through our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner. And once again, I want to welcome everyone to our August 1st, 2019 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. Besides the sheriff, we also have our jailer, Art Maglinger. Art, stand up and introduce those two young'uns you got with you. All right. You guys look like you're going to baseball practice. All right. Well, welcome. Commissioners, if you would, before we get started, without exception, I would ask that we, under 2C, item 2C, that we move that up to the top so that the sheriff will be able to do all of his things in one order. And I would need a motion, and after Jenny reads that, I will need a motion and a second to accept it. So.
Item 2, consideration for approval, C, Daviess County Sheriff's Office 2018 tax settlement and quietus.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Sheriff?
Thank you, Your Honor. Commissioners, I promise not to take over about 30 minutes this afternoon. Are you timing me, Judge? We'll start out with the Quietus, if permission of the court. I am here to settle the 2018 tax year. I wanted to make note that with the court's decision to discontinue service of the AS400, our office started using an entirely new system called TaxMaster for this year's tax collection. This presented some challenges for the office staff, especially for Shelley, our newly appointed Chief Financial Officer. However, we were able to adapt to this change, and we feel the benefits of the new system will be received moving forward with the coming tax years. Total certifications for real estate and tangible bills were $60,482,482.59. We collected a total of $59,923,769.47. We mailed out 46,613 tax bills and collected 98.3% of those bills, only turning over 806 delinquent bills to the county clerk for May the 1st. All monies have been dispersed according to the taxing districts, and we are respectfully requesting that the tax settlement be approved as printed and delivered to each of you.
Commissioners, any question or comment of the sheriff? County Treasurer, have you reviewed, looked at it? Everything seems to be in order?
I have. It appears to be in order, and none of the other taxing districts have notified me of any issues.
Okay, there being no other questions or comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. First item under presentation, Jenny.
A, introduction of new sheriff's deputies by Sheriff Keith Cain.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here with you today to introduce to you our two newest deputies. First, I want to introduce Deputy Craig Michael Floyd. Craig, do you want to stand up, please? Craig joined the Daviess County Sheriff's Office on May the 16th of this year. He is a native of Marion, Kentucky. In October, he will have 22 years of law enforcement experience. Craig was a police officer with the city of Countryside in Illinois, where he retired in July of 2018. He then worked for the Kentucky State Police as a facilities security officer. He holds an associate degree in applied science in criminal justice from Penn Foster College, is an Illinois State Certified Police Officer, a Kentucky State Special Law Enforcement Officer, and is an Illinois Certified Firearms Instructor. Craig currently works on our day shift as a patrol deputy. He and his wife Donna recently have moved to Owensboro to make it their home, and we welcome him to our office and this community. Craig?
Welcome.
Next, we have Deputy Zachary Morris. Deputy Morris, you want to stand up, please? Deputy Morris joined the Daviess County Sheriff's Office on June the 4th of this year. He is a native of Madisonville, Kentucky. He graduated from Muhlenberg County High School in 2013. He holds an associate's degree in applied science and criminal justice. Zach worked at the Muhlenberg County 911 as a dispatcher from 2014 to 2016. And in 2017, he moved to Owensboro to be a patrol officer with the Owensboro Police Department. In September, he will have 3 years of law enforcement experience. He currently serves on our night shift as a patrol deputy. So again, we wanted to welcome Deputy Morse to the Daviess County Sheriff's Office family and to this community. Zach?
Welcome. Again, I guess, Sheriff, we continue to raid OPD, don't we? I guess that's a good thing. Oh, you don't have to respond to that.
We continue to be appreciative of those that wish to come join us.
There you go. You're much more political correct than myself. Deputies, welcome. I would say this in all due respect to the sheriff. You're going to be working for one of the finest departments that in the Commonwealth, and we welcome you aboard and wish you all the success. Commissioners, you want to go down and get our pictures taken with these guys?
Yes, sir.
Is that all right, Sheriff?
Yes, sir.
Can we put I know yours was already on the bulletin board at the post office. You don't mind us putting it out on, okay. So,
Go ahead, gentlemen. Barry, get up there with me. Because it just turns gray after they work here for a while. Thank you, gentlemen. Y'all can stay here.
all right, Jenny.
B, Sheriff's Office, 2019 ROMP update.
Okay, Sheriff, before you get started, 4 years ago, Barry? Okay, boy, time sure flies when you're doing a good job, all right? There for the longest time, ROMP was providing our own security, and we were having issues, not because of ROMP, not because of the security, but we needed a more professional security force. And I went to the sheriff's office, asked the sheriff to consider. He put together a plan. EMA put together a plan. ROMP accepted it. And your office has been providing security to ROMP for 7 years. ROMP pays the men, pays all the expenses, doesn't come out, not a penny comes out of Daviess County Fiscal Court's budget or your budget.
That is correct, sir.
And you do an excellent job. I know one of the comments that I continually hear from those who attend ROMP is that they love it because they feel safe and secure when they come to that event. So I want to thank your office. This is just to update us, kind of tell us what went on, how many of those kids climbed over the fence, how many of them you caught, and things like that.
Judge, I'm going to ask Major Smith to present that, and the reason I do so is because he takes that task upon himself, does a wonderful job with it. It is a considerable task.
It
There's
is.
a lot of work involved. That credit goes to him, so I wanted to let him do this presentation.
Thank you,
Major
Sheriff.
Smith.
Plus, that'll cut down on the sheriff's presentation and also.
Absolutely, but I'm taking away from
Don't
you. He
combine
already took
both,
away
though.
from yours, Barry. Just remember, you're the one that comes and asks for money.
That's true. That is true. He sends me though, Judge.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. I just want to report that ROMP 2019, as it relates to event security, was another success. Over the years, we've fine-tuned some things like you mentioned with the fencing and so forth that they provided, and that's helped with the only paid attendees coming in and not causing any issues. The sheriff's office worked 70 and 80 hours during that week to provide continued security for the event, and also to maintain law enforcement coverage for the citizens of Daviess County. So I want to commend our staff for working long hours that week to get the job done. I also want to commend Shield Security. ROMP brought them on board about 3 years ago to help with certain stations and so forth that we were having problems with at the front gate and the rear gate over ours. They do a great job of helping us out there, and I want to commend them for that. Issues at the festival primarily were minimal, considering the heat and over 26,000 people coming through there. We had some lost children and some minor alcohol-related incidents, but everything went really well. We certainly enjoy working with ROMP and the Yellow Creek Park staff. Anything we need to help us with security, they make sure they provide it for us, so we appreciate that. We're proud that the festival is a success, and those that visit Daviess County leave with a positive image of the county. The success is directly due to combined efforts and hard work of everyone involved. Thank you again for allowing our office to be part of the endeavor, and we look forward to ROMP 2020.
Okay, thank you, Barry. And again, I want to say that you guys provide that service in a very professional manner. It's amazing what having sheriff's deputies walking through the crowd, vehicles parked near the entrances and things. Another thing I'd forgotten that several years ago we decided that we wanted to fence part of that in, which it helped cut down on several of those issues where we were having young kids come in and those kinds of things. It is amazing that you're having alcohol-related events at our parks, and we don't allow drinking in our parks, do we?
Well, with 26,000 people there, that's hard to maintain.
I'm just winking at you.
I understand,
All right.
sir.
Commissioners, anything you have to say, want to ask? And I will take this opportunity to thank Ross and his staff. They think about it. We had, Wednesday night, Mark, 3.5 inches of rain at the park. I mean, right when they were all coming in, but they took care of it, and it was another successful event. So we look forward to one next year. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Judge.
Do we have anything else from the sheriff's office?
Yes, sir.
All right, you guys get out.
Thank you, Sheriff.
C, recognizing Kentucky speech competition blue ribbon winner Tyce Boling.
Tyce, where are you? Come on up. You're on. I'll tell you, I saw Tyce's picture in the paper, and that grin, that smile, it talked to me. It said, "Get him up here and let's hear what the boy has to say." You're on.
I have to admit, when I found out I had to give a speech, I wasn't very excited. I didn't know what topic to pick, and the idea of getting up in front of people wasn't ideal. But I decided I might as well bite the bullet and do what I had to do. But do I mean I really needed to bite a bullet? I hope not. In this speech, my goal is to teach you where these weird things originate. We call these phrases idioms. We hear them, but we never really understand the meaning. I'm here to change that. Have you ever wanted your mom to say yes to something really badly? I have, especially when it comes to Fortnite. This is when it's time to butter her up. I usually decide to pay her lots of compliments. I might tell her she's the best mom in the whole world and list all the reasons why. Then I give her a big smile and say, "Please." That's the perfect way to butter her up. But do you think I actually sit there and smear butter all over my mom? No way. That would be crazy. So where did this idiom come from? The phrase butter her up began a long time ago in India. Ancient people believed that throwing balls of butter at statues of various gods would bring favor upon them. So in today's terms, when we say we want to butter someone up, we basically mean we are seeking their favor. What about this? Have you ever been really mad when it's the end of a school day and your teacher says you have to do homework? All you really want to do at the end of a school day is go home. But instead, you reach inside your desk to grab something to work on. Math, science, reading. You finally settle on something to work on when something magical happens. Ding! You have been saved by the bell. But does that mean the school bell actually comes in and rescues you? Nope. I forgot.
That's all right.
I haven't studied this at all.
You're fine.
Like-
Saved by the bell, were you?
Yeah. Something about that.
That's all right. Just keep going. Look, if you hadn't have said that, we wouldn't have known it.
Oh my gosh. I
Take
can't
your
even find it. I
time.
don't know where any of this
There
is.
you go. Hey, you remind me of me when I got to give a speech.
What? What? Oh my gosh. Oh, they're just all mixed up. I don't know where they are. No way. Most people think Saved by the Bell originated as an expression that relates to people being buried alive. The idea was, if someone was mistakenly pronounced dead and buried in a safety coffin, if they could, later revived, ring a bell that was attached to the coffin and be rescued by the graveyard workers. It sounds pretty complicated, but at least we don't have to worry about that ever happening to us. On to the next. Imagine your mom is about to turn 40 and your dad is planning a big surprise birthday party. He calls all her friends and family and tells them the exact location and time, but warns them not to say a word. Your dad tells you and your brother and sister that you're not allowed to tell anyone. After all the planning, the day of the party is here. Your sister runs in the room and tells your mom how excited she is about her party tonight. What? Did that really just happen? Great. Your sister just spilled the beans. But does that mean that your sister had a can of beans and spilled them all over the place? Nope. Actually, beans were a way of voting in ancient Greece. White beans indicated positive votes, and black beans indicated negative votes. People would place beans in cups that had the candidates' names on them. The voting had to be confidential, so people were told not to spill the beans, or others would find out who was ahead before the election was complete. Now you know the origin of a few common idioms. If you're in a pickle and nervous about your speech, don't worry. Just go out there and break a leg. You'll be great. If you mess up, no one will know. Opening with a joke is always a good way to break the ice. I'm pretty sure this is hands down one of the best speeches I've ever written, and when my teacher gives me an A, I'll be on cloud 9. Did you catch all those idioms? I doubt it, since you can't catch an idiom. Now it's time for me to hit the sack and let the next person bite the bullet.
Tyce, the Saved by the Bell reminds me, have you ever heard the one that you have to bail the cat? Sneak up on the cat, put a bell around its neck? Well, they do that to me here when I'm in my office so that when I get up and walk down the hallway, they know I'm coming. I'm the oldest of 12 kids. In our family, we didn't vote with beans, we ate the beans. Come on up, we want to get a picture with you.
Yes. How old is this young man?
Fifth grader.
How much? 10? All right. Well, let me tell you this. You did an excellent job. Only forgetting one part of it, I forgot the whole speech. Here, come around here. Congratulations. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I don't know how you're gonna hold him down in the future. See you, Grandma. Oh, Lordy. Next item, Jenny.
D, proclamations. I'll read the first one.
Okay.
From there, National Farmers Market Week, August 4 through 10, 2019.
Okay, who has National Farmers?
I do.
All right, Commissioner Koger.
Whereas farmers and ranchers provide Americans with access to the healthful local and regional produce through farmers market. which are expanding and evolving to accommodate the demand for the diverse array of agriculture products, and whereas farmers markets, agriculture direct marketing outlets, and public and private contributions provide infrastructure to assist in the distribution of locally sourced products and produce, thereby contributing over $9 billion annually to the U.S. economy, whereas farmers markets serve as significant outlets by which small to medium, new and beginning, and veteran agriculture produce markets excuse me, agriculture products generating revenue that supports family farm substantially and the revitalization of rural communities nationwide. And whereas the U.S. Department of Agriculture recognizes the importance of expanding agriculture marketing opportunities that assist and encourage the next generation of farmers, generate farm income to help stimulate business development and job creation, build community connections through rural and urban linkages, and more. Now therefore, I, Elmer Angley, Daviess County Judge Executive, hereby proclaim August 4th through August 10th, 2019 as National Farmers Market Week.
Okay, come forward. Who's here to take? Yep, there you go. You want to present it to him, and if you would, go to the podium, identify yourself, and come on up and get it first.
We're going to say 2 steps. That's right.
Golly, Tyce did a good job. Let's see if you can.
A whole lot of pressure to follow.
It is.
Jim Gillis, I'm the president of the Owensboro Regional Farmers Market. We just want to appreciate you guys recognize the proclamation for this coming week and your support for the Owensboro Regional Farmers Market. Our season does go through the end of October. We're open Tuesdays and Thursday mornings from 6:30 to 12, Saturdays from 8 to 12, and we have a special evening market, our last one for the season, this coming Thursday evening from 4 to 7 p.m. So we hope you guys can come join us.
Jim, it's an excellent market. I mean, I go by there. I've been there. It is absolutely crowded on Saturday mornings in particular. I have a hard time finding a parking spot. All the vendors are just as busy as the dickens, and it's really become a gathering place for the community where you meet friends over and over at least once a week. So I want to thank everyone that was involved. I think the hospital provided the property. Daviess County Fiscal Court put quite a bit of money into it, and there were other folks. So thank you for doing this for the community.
Well, no problem.
Really
we
important.
appreciate your all support, and
Sure.
like I said, everything you guys do for the farmers market, we greatly appreciate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next item.
Community Dental Clinic Day, August 24, 2019.
Who's my dental? Oh, okay, Commissioner Wathen.
Whereas oral health care is vital to every community member, and access to quality dental health drastically improves the oral and overall health of every citizen of Daviess County. And whereas the Community Dental Clinic opened on August 24, 2009, has served the oral health and needs of our community for 10 years, serving over 14,000 patients. Whereas the majority of patients of the Community Dental Clinic are residents of Daviess County, Kentucky, and whereas we recognize the value and accomplishments of the Community Dental Clinic staff and board and their service to the citizens of Daviess County. Therefore, Daviess County Judge Executive Al Mangley does hereby proclaim August 24th, 2019 as Community Dental Clinic Day.
And we have Dr. Brandon Taylor here to, when he introduced himself to me, I knew he was a dentist because he flashed his pearly whites at me. Dr. Taylor, if you would, identify yourself over there and maybe introduce your board. I know that you've got a lot of folks out there.
We have several of our board members here. I appreciate all the ones who were able to attend. Those folks many of them have been there from the very beginning. I've been with the clinic for 8 years, and some of our board members have been with the clinic for 10 now. And so we're excited that we've sustained for 10 years. We've grown. The needs, we've served over 14,000 patients in Daviess County. We serve the surrounding counties, but primarily most of our patients come from Daviess County. And I wish we weren't a service that was so needed, but a lot of focus is on Eastern Kentucky, Appalachia, the issues they have, but really Western Kentucky has a lot of those same issues. They just don't get as much press. So we service children from 1 all the way up to 99. So I love the work. It's a calling. It's a calling for all of our board members, and we are very appreciative. The fiscal court has always supported us and been good friends to us.
Okay. Board members, stand up a minute. Let's look at you. My good friend Keith Sanders slipped in, and I didn't even see him come in. Well, let me say on behalf of Daviess County Fiscal Court and all the citizens in Daviess County how appreciative we are. Growing up in a large family, you know, we could go to the health department and get the immunizations that we needed. Our physical health was taken care of, but you didn't go to a dentist unless you had a tooth knocked out, and then Dad would grab a hold of a pair of pliers and pull what was left in it. So, but a lot of people don't realize how oral health affects your overall physical well-being, and not just your physical well-being, but it affects your emotional well-being, and it affects a lot of people's self-worth. I mean, when you're afraid to smile and keep your mouth shut because you've got a messed up mouthful of teeth, it's something, and I can't tell you how pleased Daviess County is to be a very small part of what you do. I remember when you opened in the basement of Mayfair Square and then moved into a new facility over off of 231, I guess, and how excited I was to see you do that. And as long as I'm county judge, and I think I speak for these commissioners, we'll continue our support for this very worthwhile service. So thank all of you. Okay. You don't have to stay if you don't want to, but you're welcome. Well,
Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2019.
Commissioner Castlin, I saved that for you,
Yes, sir.
and I'll stop at that.
I'm just glad I didn't have to follow Tyce.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
There's a little gap.
Oh, I saw his picture on the front, on the new, just fell in love with that smile. I mean,
Yes.
that's cool.
Proclamation. Whereas domestic violence is a behavior pattern used to establish power and control over another through fear, intimidation, and abuse. And whereas annually 3 million men experience domestic violence and 1 in 4 women will experience it in their lifetime. And whereas domestic violence does not discriminate, affecting all races, ages, genders, and income levels. And according to HUD, domestic violence is the 3rd leading cause of homelessness among U.S. families. And whereas 2 of 3 female murder victims are killed by a family member or intimate partner, and children living in violent, abusive homes are likely to suffer from physical and emotional health issues and difficulties in school. And whereas annually, America spends $37 billion on domestic violence-related medical expenses, sheltering and foster care, law enforcement and legal costs, sick leave, absenteeism, and low employee productivity. And whereas without a coordinated community effort to end this heinous crime, girls witnessing domestic violence are more vulnerable to abuse, and witnessing boys are likely to become perpetrators, thus continuing the cycle of violence. Now therefore, Daviess County Judge Executive Al Mattingly proclaims October 2019 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and urges all citizens to learn more about preventing domestic violence and to support and show appreciation to the many local agencies and volunteers who provide protection, advocacy, and assistance to victims.
And here to receive it is Andrea Robinson, the new director of Oasis. Andrea, come up and get the proclamation, and you please go to the podium and say a few words to us.
I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to come to represent Oasis. As you know, domestic violence is something that is prevalent across the world, but specifically here in Kentucky. In the past year, Oasis has provided services to over 1,600 women and children and men. Almost 500 of those people have been in our shelter. So October, being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we will kick off October 1st with our annual vigil and recognize fallen victims of domestic violence and continue with other activities through the month. But I do thank you for allowing me to be here.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Welcome, first of all, to your new job. And
Thank you.
secondly, I want to thank you and Oasis, the board, and all those folks that are involved for what they do for our community. It's a place where folks can go to shelter from this type of thing with no fear. So thank you for the job that you do.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, Jenny, next item.
Item 2, consideration for approval minutes of the July 23rd, 2019 court meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion, second. Commissioners, you all had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Again, Commissioners, you've all had a copy of the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court in your possession for some time. Any questions of the treasurer at this time? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
D, backup ambulance service agreement with Deaconess Hospital.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, I'm asking your consent to allow me to move forward in negotiating the final agreement. The agreement that you have there is the draft, not necessarily finalized, but also giving me the authority to sign the final agreement. I'll keep you guys informed as the agreement is worked on. Claude has been instrumental in drafting the initial agreement and revising it on occasion. It's now in the hands of Deaconess Hospital for them to review. The agreement is being made on behalf of all of Daviess County. And I want to thank Nate Pagan and elected officials of Owensboro for their hard work in resolving the initial ambulance issue. I've talked to the city manager, talked to Mayor Watson and all the city commissioners, as well as you folks, informing them of the direction we've chosen regarding backup ambulance service. I'll keep them in the loop as well. But in negotiations, the fewer entities involved, the quicker you can come up with a final document, quicker you can produce that document. And I believe that this is an issue that's best dealt by the government that represents everyone in Daviess County. I'm not going to recount the last 7 months during which the city and county chose a new ambulance provider. I see we have a representative of AMR here tonight, a former representative of Yellow as well. During the last 7 months during which the city and county chose a new ambulance provider and tried to negotiate the terms of Owensboro Health's participation in the financial costs and the provisions of a backup agreement, it became apparent that Owensboro Health was choosing to relieve itself from any responsibility for the safety and welfare of the citizens in Owensboro and Daviess County when their attorney notified us that they did not believe the current agreement with the hospital was valid, and even if it was valid, they were notifying us that their intent was not to renew the agreement. Subsequently, I was approached by Deaconess. I guess they heard that we were looking for a backup, about providing a backup service, and I entered a conversation with them. I think Claude was in that initial meeting. I believe Nate was in the meeting, and County Treasurer Hendricks was in that meeting. They now, as I said, have the latest revision of the agreement and are reviewing it. Out of courtesy to the hospital, I contacted the board chair in an attempt to work out our differences, but that came to no avail. City Manager Pagan and I had several meetings and conversations, but in the end, we couldn't come to an agreement. On Tuesday, I received an email from the hospital CEO outlining the rejection of our final proposal, and I would state that where we started and where the hospital started, we traveled a long way. The hospital continued to stay where their first and final position. He outlined the rejection of our final proposal restating that they would participate at a $50,000 subsidy with no comment regarding backup. The subsidy was tied to us not negotiating with any of their competitors. The hospital CEO, in my opinion, seems to have a fixation when it comes to linking issues together. I must say that I'm disappointed at the lack of leadership by all the board members, as well as the professional staff regarding this issue. I'm also disappointed at the strong-arm tactics employed by the hospital leadership in trying to link changing the bylaws to the ambulance service. I guess that's what you get when there is a healthcare monopoly in our community. I look forward to a long and mutually beneficial relationship between our community, AMR, and Deaconess. Commissioners, I'll open it up for any comment or question that you might have. Yes, sir.
I do have a comment.
Sure.
Just to make sure that people in Daviess County know we have a good ambulance service, and they're doing a good job, and we fully anticipate that they'll continue to do that. And we don't have a problem. We like our service agreement. This is just in case something happens. We need to have a backup in place. So we have good service. We want to continue with that, and there's no reason for anything else. I also just want to mention one other point. We had a phone call today that made me think that perhaps this might be a little problem. Someone tried to call the old ambulance number, and they couldn't get a hold of them because there's no one there at the yellow ambulance service. No one answered the phone. Just remind the citizens, if they need an ambulance, dial 911 and they'll get one. That's my message. If you need an ambulance, 911 is the way to do it. Don't worry about trying to look up a phone number in the book for an ambulance service. Just make that quick call. So that's it.
Commissioner, good point. A backup is something that it's like insurance. You buy it, you hope you never need it. But we would be remiss in our responsibilities as providers for the public safety if we didn't do it. That's why in my office on the floor I have a manual that's about that thick with emergency procedures in case things happen. I can guarantee you something's going to happen, and we will not have anticipated everything that could happen, but it's incumbent upon us that we do provide those kinds of assurances. The backup agreement as well does not mean that they will come in and help AMR out. I'm hoping that they, like Yellow, had interlocal agreements with surrounding counties, and Jamie's shaking his head, yes, they do. The backup is only triggered if our current provider should cease to exist. That's what it's about. And it doesn't say that Deaconess will come in and do this for nothing. It says that Deaconess will come in and take over the ambulance service under the, yes, go ahead.
Under the same terms,
Under
at
the
least that's our
same-
proposed, same terms as provisions
That's
as the
correct.
current provider.
That
Or
is
at the-
that is correct.
Under the terms of the contract as it exists at the time of the termination.
That is correct. And only until we negotiate for a new provider.
Correct.
Yep. Okay.
Al,
Yes, sir.
if I could. First of all, I just want to thank AMR for their role in stepping in when Yellow left. That was a lot of work in getting to that point. And I want to thank you for your efforts in following up with this part that we thought we already had a backup agreement. And as you said in your comments, the hospital sent us notice that even if we did have an agreement, and they disputed that issue, that they were giving us notice that they were no longer going to honor that it was closing out per the terms of that they were giving us 30 or 60, 90 days, whatever it is that they were required to give. And that disappointed me because, as you said, on the surface, there's really no dollars up front that they just have to have a plan to implement once something happens. And I was very disappointed that they made the decision, their leadership made the decision that was something they weren't going to honor. they'd been in that role for many years, and to make that change disappointed me for what that's worth. I appreciate you taking the leadership.
Part of the
that you
job.
have.
Part of the job. Any other comment? Then we'll open it up to the public. No takers. Commissioners, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Item 3, consideration for appointment. A, Barry Smith, Sue Smiley, Clay Horton, and Dr. Nikki Curtis to the Davis County Animal Care and Control Advisory Board with terms 8/7/19 to 8/7/2023.
Motion approved.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, I want to thank all those I think all of these have served either partial term or full term. Animal control is a thankless job. It's a thankless board. And I wanted to say thank you to all of them. So that's the only thank you that you will ever get. I know that they'll do a good job going forward. Any question or comment? Every one of these have been contacted, right? Any question or comment?
Now that you've thanked them, it's not a thankless job.
Well, it will be going forward, I guarantee that. No other question or comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4, consideration for discussion. A, other business be brought before the Davis County Fiscal Court. I'm not aware of any.
Neither am I.
B, public comments.
This is the time during our meeting in which we ask the public to come forward, identify themselves, and you're welcome to speak on any issue other than what was on the agenda. Come on, guys. Come up and tell us about your ball team. Don't want to do it? Tell us about your dad's job. Tell us how old your mom is. You learned from this young fella about buttering people up, didn't you? All right, no takers, Jenny.
C, advertisements. Would you like to announce?
Yes, I would, if I can find it in here. Commissioners, we have an advertisement for 2 new walking floor trailers at the transfer station. It seems like we're always purchasing those items. They are expensive, $55,000, $60,000, maybe a little more than that. I'm assuming that we are replacing 2 because the ones that they're replacing are irreparable, right?
Not cost effective to
Not
repair
cost
them.
effective, that's correct. The other is a new front end loader at the transfer station. Those boys, they just keep tearing things up. So, Jordan, you're gonna bid it out when?
I'll have this back to the court in September. This
Okay.
will go out tomorrow.
Okay, just letting you guys know that we got some big toys for the big boys coming up. Next item, Jenny.
Comments by Davis Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Caslen,
Pass.
Commissioner Wathen,
I'm going to pass.
Commissioner Koger.
Pass.
One of the things that I would tell you that I spent last evening, we had many of the larger counties at a reception at the Bluegrass Museum. Every one of them commented about what a fine place it was. They all had a good time. These counties are counties who have a population of more than 70,000. In effect, they're called fee counties. And we get together every couple months and talk about issues that we have, such as fire stations, jailer, about jails. Found out one county has 180 bed jail and routinely carries 500 prisoners in that jail. Yeah. Here we've got a 699 bed jail. When we get to 750, we get written up. So I don't know how he continues to do it. We spent the day today talking about those issues. One of the issues came up about emergency service, 911, ambulance service. By the way, Bowling Green's hospital provides ambulance service for Bowling Green and Warren County at no cost. So, you know, it's always good to get together with some of your peers and talk about issues that are common to counties of that size. When, you know, Hancock County has 9,000 people and McLean County probably 8. Davis County has 100,000. We have problems that Hancock and McLean do not have, and they have problems that we don't have, so it's always good. I can't remember the date, but I would remind everybody that the Human Relations Commission will be having the Multicultural Festival, and I believe it's the third Saturday, so it would be 14 plus 4 on the 18th, I believe. But there are signs popping up all over Owensboro and Davis County. So I would encourage you to go and look at all the exhibits and the booths and see some of our neighbors who have immigrated in this community and look at the different cultures and partake of the different foods. It's always a good experience. Other than that, I would apologize that I didn't have a tie on today. I brought one with me, much to the chagrin of my wife. She told me it didn't go with it, but she said, ask the girls at Fiscal Court. I asked 2 girls and they both gave me a thumbs down sign. I thought they could have buttered me up and told me that it would work. They said, Judge, it's better to go with a jacket and a shirt. And so I took their advice. There's no other business to be brought before Davis County Fiscal Court without exception. We're adjourned.